Welcome to Is This How You Mom? The podcast where we dive into the messy, magical, and downright difficult moments of motherhood.
No rulebook, no judgment, just real talk, raw stories, and a whole lot of figuring it out as we go.
Let's laugh, cry, and wonder together.
Is this how you mom?
Hey guys!
What's up?
Welcome to
Our 8:30 podcast.
episode number 9.
You know what's funny is I was talking to my coworker today, and we were just talking about like what we were doing tonight. I was like, yeah, my friend's coming over and we're gonna record the podcast. I was like, oh, I should just drink another Celsius because it's gonna be so late. It's gonna be like 8 o'clock. And she just kind of looked at me like
that's not late.
Yeah, and I was like, I mean, like for me that's late.
Very
like,
well, and then
I'm exhausted.
I texted you because I didn't forget.
Wow, you forgot.
We were at dinner and my aunt was like, "What are y'all gonna?" I don't even know. She didn't ask me what I was gonna do tonight, but I said, "Oh, I'm going to Palmer," and then I said, "Wait, Jessica hasn't mentioned anything about this today." So I texted you and I said, "Hey, I'm still coming over, right?"
I just assumed you were coming over. I was like, okay. I wasn't going to cancel again.
Great.
Gosh.
I'm not either.
Gosh forbid, even though my husband's, excuse me?
He's getting home at like midnight.
He's been home. I mean, he's been gone all week and he's coming home tonight. He got on an early flight, so he'll be here in probably like an hour.
Oh, good. Mm-hmm. I'll get to see him. I'll get to welcome him to his house. But this is episode number 9. We, last episode in episode 8, we talked about...
Sorry, that was a lot of episode.
In episode 8, Jesus.
We discussed.
Baby products, what we liked, didn't like. I loved that episode.
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
I hope y'all are enjoying it.
My grandma said we always suggest great things.
Oh, Grandma.
I was like, thanks, Grandma.
But this episode and next episode, we'll see what happens. We wanted to go deep into sleep because sleep
has changed forever.
And has
not only our sleep, their sleep.
Honestly, and like the worry around their sleep
the anxiety over sleep
will always be a thing, I'm assuming. I don't freaking know. But yeah.
Well, just like whenever we went to dinner, and your friend was there, and she was like, you sometimes might find yourself re-sleep training. And I was like, wait, but I already did this. Why do I have to do it again? I don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
So, but then she clarified that she didn't mean like literally what we had to do that first time. But
and see, the crazy thing is, I don't even remember, Kaylee, if you're listening, I don't remember her ever talking about sleep training her baby. But then again, maybe it was just because I wasn't in that season of life.
Yeah. So you were in one ear out the other.
Yeah. But I don't ever. I feel like that's all I talk about.
Yeah.
Is sleep.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, we're better. We're better now.
Well, yeah,
but like
still,
the first 5 up until sleep training, and then after. Because we were freaking out about it after, too. Okay, you know what? Never mind. It's all we talk about.
It's all we talk about. Like, even I'm just curious right now. I'm not worried, but I'm just curious to see, because I go to work tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So Logan will be with her. And she's been waking up at 8 a.m. And I'm just curious, like, how that's going to go.
Yeah, because the last time he did a Saturday, she ended up waking up at, like, 6 for some reason.
6:45, yeah.
And she's a late sleeper. There's one thing about Lakin which is so funny. That girl will get her sleep. Mm-hmm. But beginning of her life, she was like, F this thing called sleep.
Yeah, she was not about that life. Yeah. And if you would have told me it would have been like this, I would have been like,
I would have laughed in your face.
Yeah.
More like punched you because I'm so tired. Sleep. Okay, so here's the thing. I feel like every time someone's pregnant, and the first thing anybody wants to tell them is, oh, just wait. You'll never sleep again. You're going to be so tired. Oh, just wait until newborn tired. Blah, blah, blah. I hated those comments because I was like, can we focus on the joy of this baby? Mm-hmm. But Lord, they are right. They're right. End of the day, they're right. And
you don't want to say it to other people because you don't want to be that person. I don't want to scare
you. Yeah, and I don't want to like bring you down about your pregnancy.
But I also want you to hear my comments.
Yes.
And I want you... Like, I don't feel like I'm a sissy. I really don't.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't feel like I'm a sissy
Yeah.
when it comes to anything, honestly.
Mhm.
But I got beat down.
House down
I am
bad.
beat down forever.
The PTSD is so real regarding
Literal.
sleep.
And again, I think we mentioned it. I don't know what we were talking about in another episode, but because you had Waylon like a week and a half before me, but I don't remember you making those comments to me about like sleep. Like you had already.
Yeah, no, because he was a really, really good, like, out the womb sleeper.
So maybe that
Yeah,
was
no,
it.
like I was definitely so we had two different types of tired. My tired was that I was waking him up every 2 hours to eat to make sure he was gaining weight, especially since I was breastfeeding him and I didn't know how much he was getting. But I was actually like having to wake him up to eat. Like he was a very, very good
That's
sleeper,
crazy.
and I remember being like, "Yeah, I'm tired, but
I'm doing it to myself.
I'm the one waking myself up
Mhm.
because I was told that this is how he has to eat." During the day, he slept all day too. So,
Crazy.
but what's weird is he only slept because one of our friends' babies. I feel like every time we saw him, he was sleeping during the day. But Waylon only like slept during the day like that for the first week, maybe second week of his life, and then he was full up all the time. And I was having to try to get him to go to sleep.
Yeah.
But he didn't fight it.
Yeah.
I just had to actually work to get him to go to sleep.
And then Lakin, I feel like as soon as she popped out, she was awake during the night. Like she was not going to sleep.
She definitely had the. I mean, don't want to say right away because I feel like they have to learn the what's it called? And they're backwards.
The night confusion.
Yeah.
Day night confusion.
But I definitely think she had that as well.
As soon as she came.
Yeah.
As soon as she came out.
It's because she was born at night, so she was like, "Oh, so this is when I party."
Yeah, maybe that is it.
Theory.
I don't know.
That's a theory.
And then I stayed in the hospital for 2 days. And like people say, "Oh, go to sleep." But when people are visiting you and holding your baby, you want to see those interactions too. So no lie, I think I was awake for like 72 hours straight.
No,
with maybe like a couple like close my eyes.
You would text me and you were like, "I maybe slept 30 minutes."
Yeah, maybe. And it wasn't a deep sleep.
No, because you can't. Well, I don't know. I did, but I think I was just utterly worn out.
No. And then we got home and I just felt like a zombie. You feel like a zombie, walking zombie. You're supposed to like put all this shit up for your new baby.
Unpack everything.
Yeah.
And unpack the baby.
It is actually making me cringe thinking about it.
How like sickly tired you were. I just think like, again, you can only be so prepared, and I truly was not prepared. Second time around, I am fully aware of how exhausted I'm going to be. But this was just, again, we talked about it where I didn't even remember putting him in his bassinet, which just feels so dangerous to me. Like, what do you mean? I don't know where, I wake up and I don't know where he is. He's in his bassinet, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But I feel like, honestly, he was a really, really good sleeper. Even like, I don't want people to hate on me because I know Haley had beef with me about it, but like, I didn't have to really rock. I mean, I rocked him to sleep, but like just holding him, little booty pats, like.
Well, you like breastfed him and then you like burped him and then you.
Yeah, like he would fall asleep on the boob. So I would literally just like pull myself out of his mouth. I didn't want to say pull my nipple.
Yeah.
Pull it out. And
you did the little.
Yeah, just little boop. And then I would stick the passy in his mouth and I would try to burp him and then I would just lay him down. And then we would do it again once he got to birth weight, I would just do it again when he woke up. So then it got to that point of like, he was just really good the first 3 months. When he hit month 3 is when all hell broke loose.
Yeah. Well, and then that's when you train. Well, no.
I didn't.
He never did bad in the bassinet.
No, he did so good in the bassinet.
Exactly. I don't feel like anything went bad until.
No, it literally didn't go. But he did really good in his crib too.
Were you still swaddling in the crib?
No, I don't think so. I think we had taken him out of the swaddle. I think that too. Well, I don't really know because Lakin hated the swaddle, but like personally for Waylon, I think the swaddle made him feel very, like, just squeezed and hugged and
Mhm.
held
Mhm.
tightly, and he just really knocked out in that thing.
Yeah.
He did really good in a swaddle.
And he never moved.
Mm-mm.
Never.
Nope.
And I
Or,
wonder if that has anything to do with the swaddle or if that's just Waylon.
yeah. Yeah, because he honestly wasn't a big mover until recently either. So,
Mhm.
I think he's
In
just
his
not a
sleep?
mover. Yeah, in his sleep. Yeah, now I'll look up and he'll be, like, flipped the other way.
Okay. Yeah.
Lakin's first 3 months of sleep.
Bad.
Tell me about it.
Down bad. We hospital again, like up all night long. She slept during the day. During the day, I'd have to wake her up to eat, and then I
Mhm.
feel like either she was just starved all day long, and that's why she was up all night,
Mhm.
or she had the day night confusion. I
Mhm.
don't know, but we got home, and same thing. Like at night is when like 4 or 5, she would just start crying.
Do you feel like that was her witching hour, or is
Mhm.
she? Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's when I was like, I don't know what to do.
Mhm.
Like, because you don't have a schedule yet. You can't have a
No,
schedule. They
yeah,
say,
they
like,
say it's
newborns don't
pretty
have a
much
schedule.
pointless
Yes,
to
exactly.
try and do any type of
But
schedule
you yourself are trying to have some sort of, like,
routine. Yeah.
normalcy because nothing is normal when you
Mhm.
get home. When am I supposed to shower? When am I supposed to go to sleep? People want to come over and visit me, but I don't wake up. We're not waking up
Yeah.
until like 10 a.m.
Yeah, I remember that.
Remember
Yeah,
that?
I remember we would tell people, like, yeah, you can come over, but, like, our wake up was 10 a.m.
Mhm.
because we were up at 2, 4,
Mhm.
6. So then
6,
finally at
yeah.
10 a.m. we were like, okay, I
Yeah.
think we can climb
And
out
I
of
feel like
bed.
that was Lakin. Like for the longest time, she'd be up. I mean, I don't want to say she never slept during the night, but I just felt like she was up every 2 hours, up until like
But
6 or 7,
then
and
don't
then
you
when
think,
I was ready to get up, she was knocked out in
yeah,
the bed.
but don't you think too, like, is it bad sleeping or is it just normal?
I think it's just normal,
I think
and
for you
we
it
didn't
wasn't.
know them.
Yeah.
I like now I know her.
Yeah.
I didn't know her.
But I feel like too, there's a difference between, like, they're waking up every 2 hours, and then she literally was just crying if she wasn't asleep or with a bottle. She hit that phase.
Mhm.
I think yes, you were tired, but I don't think you were, like, you're down bad tired until she went through her purple.
Yeah.
And that's when you were like, okay.
I like how you call it purple.
Yeah. Isn't that what it's called?
It is. I mean, that's I think what it's called. So she didn't sleep. Great. Then she went through the whole phase of crying, and it really didn't start until like the witching hour, but then that's when like you couldn't put a bottle in her mouth, you couldn't
I looked it up.
rock her, you couldn't do anything. I did not know what to do,
Yeah.
so I took her to the doctor, and
Mhm.
that is a like I remember filling it out like comments like what's wrong, and it said like fussy, like nonstop crying. I
Mhm.
just put that in the comments because I was like, I don't know,
Yeah.
because you don't know.
Yeah.
Like, am I doing something wrong,
Mhm.
or is she just?
Especially when, I mean, don't, you never want to compare your babies, but we're looking at two babies who are 10 days apart, and, like, yeah, he cries, he wakes up every 2 hours, but he is not
No,
nonstop.
uncontrollably,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, it was like purple/colic,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and
So we were all calling it colic,
Mhm.
and if you look it up, like colic is a very generic
Mhm.
term. Back in the day, like that's just what they called like fussy babies,
Mhm.
colicky. Oh, they're colicky, they're gassy, blah blah blah.
But you were giving her gas drops
It's
too,
a
you know?
it's a broad umbrella term. Now that I've like looked into it more, we were doing the gas drops. We were doing the Dr. Brown's anti-colic.
Mhm.
She wasn't gassy.
No.
Like she never.
You bicycled her all the time.
Yes.
I remember.
Always bicycling. She had good poops. She wasn't farty. She burped. Like she wasn't a baby that didn't
Right,
burp.
right.
She didn't spit up. Like she was not exhibiting the signs of like
not
anything.
tolerating her milk or
Yeah.
formula or something. Like, there was just nothing.
So I took her to the doctor. I didn't get to see her pediatrician at the time, but I saw the nurse practitioner, and she was so great.
Mhm.
And she told me it was called the purple
Mhm.
phase or stage. It
Yeah. As
stands
soon
for,
as you sent it to me, I immediately Googled it.
yeah, it stands for pain free.
Peak of crying.
Oh, peak of crying.
Unexpected, resist soothing, pain-like face, long-lasting evening.
Yes. And those were like literal, it literally touched on every single thing, and so she talked me through each phase or whatever. She gave me things to do, which I was already kind of doing. Like, you literally just move around,
Mhm.
you change scenery, you change environment, blah blah blah. But then I started crying because
Mhm.
she said it could last for like 3 months, and we were in month 2.5 or something.
Yeah.
And I literally broke down. I was like, I don't think I can do any more of this. Like, I don't like my baby.
Mhm.
I did not, like, this is not what I wanted. And so I started crying, and she was like, it's okay. She was really great.
Yeah.
She like talked me through it all and stuff. And she even said, she was like, take as much time as you need in here. She put a sign on the door to like let me have all the
Mhm.
time I need. And then I'd say around like month 4 is when she got over that and she started to be like happy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Nothing changed. I didn't change her formula. I didn't change anything.
Yeah, it's literally like she just kind of grew out of it.
Yes.
And I think what's hard is just it's so sad because like obviously we don't want our babies crying, but then like who's looking out for us almost in
Mhm.
a way, and I felt very like, ah,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
I don't know what
how
to
to help
do.
you.
I don't know what to
Yeah.
do. I'm doing everything I can. I'm
Yeah.
like checking all my boxes and all of them are checked at this
Mhm.
point. Why?
It gives you that feeling of like I just want to sit you down and just walk away.
Yeah. Well,
Like
and we did.
I don't know what to do. I have to sit you down and walk away.
This night. I can't remember if Logan had already gone back to work or not. Surely he
Had to have, yeah.
had to have, but I would like be bouncing her or whatever. She'd be nonstop crying. I'd literally have to set her down on her floor in her room and walk out, and Logan would switch spots with me
Mhm.
and then go. And then actually, I do take that back. I did switch formulas, but I switched to I still am Similac, but instead of the total 360, I did sensitive. I don't know if
Did
that
it
did
did it do
anything.
anything?
I don't
Yeah.
know because
Yeah.
she was still colicky, but I was like, I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go
You
get
even
formula.
you even took her to the chiropractor.
Oh
Yeah.
my! I did take her to the. I
Yeah.
mean, nothing against that. Like, whatever, do what you have to do.
I mean, you just get to that point of where you're literally desperate.
I was like,
Like
yeah.
I will literally try
Yes.
anything as if it doesn't harm my baby.
I
I'm gonna
remember
try it.
I booked that appointment at like 2 in the morning because she was just crying,
Yeah.
and I was like, if you're in pain and I'm letting you be in this pain,
Right.
I'm going to actually, like, you still feel bad, even
Mhm.
though you're so tired. Like,
Mhm.
I feel bad.
Yeah.
And
Especially because I mean, you as a new mom, I feel like the biggest thing I felt was you're literally my responsibility.
Mhm.
Every cry, whine, laugh is all me. Like
Mhm.
I am doing it to you. You literally can do nothing for
Mhm.
yourself.
You can't ask me for medicine.
No.
You can't ask me
Nope.
to rub your belly. You can't ask me to change your
Mhm.
diaper. Yeah. No. And so I took her. I either did one or two. I didn't follow up with it because,
Yeah.
again,
And
like
to
I said,
clarify, the person we went to, she's amazing. It was the person we saw during our pregnancy,
Mhm.
and what did she explain it as? Like it's basically just like pressure.
yes,
She's not
no,
physically popping the
at all.
baby.
No, she
It's
she
all
didn't even
pressure.
twist her at all. She literally applied pressure. Like, I think she did her neck. She said she did have like little kinks, but she said that she explained that could have just been like me giving
Coming
birth
through the
to
canal.
her. And she pushed a little bit on her sacrum, and she felt around in her belly. Again, I didn't see a crazy improvement to where I continued doing that. But you get to
You
that
just
point where I'm
try.
just
Yeah.
trying everything I can. And I remember that night me and Logan were switching off, and I said, I'm gonna go to Walmart, I'm gonna go get the sensitive formula. I don't know what else to do. And I remember I was in the car driving to Walmart, and I didn't FaceTime. I think I Snapchat videoed my friend Lauren from work, and I said, I don't know what to do. She's just at home crying. I'm going to get more formula. And I just started crying. But she just had her second baby, so she was like, it's okay, like, and she was just like trying to talk me through it, but it was awful.
It's hard. It's hard when you're not sleeping, your baby's not sleeping. you get to that point of just wanting to
Mhm.
stick them in the room
Mhm.
and walk out.
And I literally, like, I get, I don't get, I do get, like, shaken baby syndrome.
Yeah.
Not saying that I ever, like, wanted to, like, shake her to sleep, but more so, like, you're bouncing them because they tell you to do that.
Yeah.
The nurse practitioner literally told me, like, repetitive movements,
Mhm.
big movements, but I can see where that would lead to.
Mhm.
Again, some people's intentions might be elsewhere.
Right.
But it was like, again, yeah, if I didn't catch myself, I was like, okay,
I mean, you just
let me put you down.
yeah,
Let
like,
me
yes,
reset.
that's what it is. Is you literally get to that point of, to me, I felt like it was just boiling up me,
Yeah.
and I was like, I have to put you down. I
Mhm.
would put him down and walk out of the room, and Jarrett just saw it in my face of like, oh God,
Yeah.
she's literally done.
She can't do
She
it
can't.
again.
I
Yeah.
physically cannot rock him one more time, or
Mhm.
I'm actually gonna lose it. And
Yeah.
then the utter mom guilt of like, I am such a bad mom.
Yeah.
I can't believe that
Because
I
then-
can't soothe my baby.
Yes.
I'm feeling like this. Woe is me for what?
Because then when you go back and you try again, then
And
that's when they fall
yes,
asleep.
and they're just so sweet and they're loving, and you're like, God, I'm awful.
That's all they needed. They
yes,
needed
they
their
just
mom.
oh my God, they needed their
Mhm.
mom. That hits so freaking hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was Lakin's first. They just had such opposite.
Mhm.
Like, he was such a good 0 to 3 month sleeper. Lakey girl was not.
No.
And
not at
then,
all.
so then I feel like once you get to what, month 3, you get a quote unquote routine.
Yeah. We had a better grasp on, like,
Who
wake
they
windows.
are. And, yeah. Oh yeah.
Who they are, what their personality is, and now we'll, like, kind of get into, like, wake windows and what we followed. Again, we've
Yeah.
already discussed we're very schedule
Yeah, that's what I was
like
gonna say. We are definitely pro wake windows.
Mhm.
Now, granted, do we think we're gonna do it the second one? I don't know. Can't
We'll
tell you what
see.
I think we're gonna do,
Mhm.
but I think as new moms, already being schedule oriented people, and then you throw a baby in who has no schedule, I'm going to try to grasp onto anything I can.
Yeah.
Which was sponsor. Just kidding.
Give us a discount code.
So we used Taking Care of Babies.
Mm.
She has like free sleep guidelines. You can pay.
A lot of the stuff is in her blogs.
Yes,
If you read through
yeah.
her blogs, a lot of it is
So
in there.
you can pay for more, but I did the free stuff.
Yeah.
So Wake Windows was in the first 3 months. When we really, I feel like we really started honing in on it. Was only, let me see, how long were they awake? They were only awake for an hour. We had to keep them up for an hour.
That's actually crazy.
Yeah. An hour to an hour and a half. That's crazy.
And
then
I remember
fighting for that hour was rough.
Yes. And I remember you had, like, such a good schedule with Waylon, and I was like, how are you doing this? I remember at some point I was like, how do you have
Yeah,
like,
I feel like he was very
because
same
you even
times.
knew,
Yeah, he was very same times. I was like, oh yeah, it's nap time. I hate myself because I literally thought that I had this shit down. I was like, damn, I'm a good ass mom.
What the fuck is she doing over here?
No, I totally was like, no, Lakey girl just does not care. But I was like, oh, Waylon's like, he's doing well. But I also feel like I had the understanding of some babies don't do schedule. So I was like, maybe she just doesn't like schedule.
Yeah.
He seems to like schedule. Now they're both very, I feel like we both know, like, oh yeah, they're probably going to hit this. So they both do really well on the schedule. But I really thought I had it going well. And then for some reason, as soon as I went back to work, everything literally hit the fan and spun everywhere. It was a hot mess. Like,
And
I don't
now
think he's
looking back-
ever...
Now looking back, that had to have been you being gone.
You think so? Like a separation
has to.
anxiety?
Has to. Not even anxiety, just like, oh, my mom's not here.
Yeah. Because he had already been, I transitioned him to the, I think he transitioned to the crib after I went back to work, actually. I honestly can't remember, but I want to say he was like 3.5 months old, so I feel like he had to have, I've already had to been at work. And I remember being so worked up about it. I cried, of course.
About going back to work?
No, about putting him in the crib. But I had to, Jarrett and I just kept talking about it. So put him in the crib and he was doing amazing. Then all of a sudden, just one night out of nowhere, it was, every 2 hours, if that. If we got 2 hours, I was lucky. And I was just constantly having to put him back on the boob, back to sleep. Like every 2 hours
Because at
night.
this point, we're still rocking them to sleep.
Yeah, so we were rocking to sleep. We were literally bath, feed. They would fall asleep feeding most of the time. I would kind of hold him a little bit. Then I would lay him in his crib. Crib transfer? Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
You want to know a skill? A skill that I have learned is a nice crib transfer because, God forbid, I mess that up.
The anxiety when they'd be asleep on us and we'd be texting each other and I'd be like, she's asleep so good, but I don't know if she's going to make this transfer.
Or then we'd go and they'd start moving, so you have to just stop. You just freeze, hovering.
And like rocking midair.
And then like rocking into the crib. Oh my gosh, crib transfers.
Or like going into the crib and like putting kind of all your weight
yes,
on her.
like pressuring them down into the mattress. And then I'm like, okay, release.
Yes.
And then I would have to lay him down and then I'd have to take his hands and make sure they were up.
Yes.
Or he would freak himself out.
Because
oh my God.
Waylon was a back sleeper, but Lakin was a side sleeper. So I'd literally put her down, roll her to the side, pat, 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 lift.
Remove hands from subject.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was a back sleeper. He hated being on anything that wasn't his back, but he would sleep hands up, but you'd have to put his hands up because if he did it himself, it woke him up, which is ridiculous. Like the drama.
Yeah.
You are your father's son, Jesus. But so I feel like I didn't have my down bad moments until then. And then my husband works second shift. I think I've already said it. So I was doing every night alone, like evenings. So he was going down at like 6:30 at night. And he would maybe sleep like 2 hours. And then that's when it would start. So 6:30 at night, I'm doing everything by myself. But then my husband comes home and he's not getting home until 12:30, if he's lucky, 1:30 on most nights. And so I can't then send him in there because he's exhausted. He has to get up with him when I leave for work. So I'm just down bad. And I got to that point of where I had to set him down or I was going to shake him because, well, obviously I was not going to shake him.
No, but
like I can see, again, like you said, I can see when you get to that point of like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I remember one time, it makes me so sad to think about it. I had a yoga ball that I would bounce him on, which you forgot to say that.
Yeah.
I bounced him on a yoga ball and I was just like, shh, whatever. And he was just screaming and screaming and screaming. And I was like, maybe if I shush louder than his scream, literally scared the crap out of him. I scared him so hard. He let out the biggest wail because I shushed loud. I scared myself.
That was like right before sleep training.
Had to have been.
Had to have been,
yeah. So what? So then this is going on
4 months.
A month?
Yeah.
A month of this god-awful sleeping. And this is what caused me to get on anxiety medication too. Like between this and then the separation anxiety, I was like, I simply cannot.
Yeah.
Like I told Jarrett and I were fighting every day. Because everything that I was feeling that I could not take out on Waylon, obviously because he's a 4-month-old, I was then taking out on Jarrett. So I would say our biggest like strain in the marriage was when Waylon was not sleeping.
Yeah.
Because
we
were both utterly exhausted. And then on top of that, well, you can't have feelings because you have to go deal with this baby's feelings. And so I got to that point.
What are we going to do? Are we just going to keep talking about it or are we going to go handle it type thing?
And I don't know how to say this. I think he's just attached to me. I think Waylon's very attached to me. And it made Jarrett feel less than of a dad because he would try to rock Waylon asleep.
And it wouldn't work.
You can just tell by the screams, like the cry. Waylon had this certain cry of like, I do not want anybody that's not my mom.
Yeah.
So just stop. And so then I feel obligated. And again, he's a nursed baby. So not only am I his mom, I'm his food source.
Yeah.
And he knows like, girl, whip it out. I need it. So being truly the only person who could do anything because no matter how hard Jarrett tried, it just didn't work.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been rough it was rough out here.
3 to 4 months was when we kind of got on the wave flow of the wake windows, still rocking to sleep.
We
and
rocked
then
to
that's
sleep
when and then that's when like we went back to work. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what I'm trying to say. Like Logan was gonna have to be
Logan
with her.
had to. He literally had to learn.
So I don't think before then like he ever did much. I'm not saying like, but I was there.
Yeah.
I was already doing it.
And
so
it's
I literally
you just
had
feel like
to.
mom. Like
Yeah.
mom just
I
wants
have
to do it.
this.
I'm mom.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Not even I have to. Yeah, I was just there.
yeah.
I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
And so I literally had to teach him, like, I borrowed her yoga ball from when she was pregnant because she was colicky. She liked the bouncing. We'd have to bounce her to sleep. We'd transfer her into the swing. I literally had to teach Logan all of that. And then...
That's so funny. You took the yoga ball for the first 3 months. And then I took the yoga ball back because I was like... I think you told me. You were like, I'm going to bring you. You're like, I'm bringing you the yoga ball back and try it because he wouldn't go down for naps anymore.
Yeah.
And
because
so
you were trying to rock him, but he wasn't.
He didn't want to be rocked. He wanted to be bounced, and my back could not.
Literal. But, and then 3 to 4 months, rocking, bouncing to sleep for naps was cool. And then I remember she was going to sleep later, so I would get home from work, and I'd have to rock her to sleep. I hate saying have to. I would rock her to sleep because I have been gone from her all day. I wanted to. But the anxiety I had coming home, like, oh, is she gonna be a put down one timer tonight, or am I gonna have to pick her up and do it again, or am I gonna have to get out of the shower really fast to go and pick her up and rock her again? Or like, are we gonna have
a feeding? Is it gonna be a full 6-hour night, or is it gonna be you're gonna be awake in 2 hours night?
No, and I definitely would say like she'd go down at 8, and then she'd be awake at 1, and then again at like 4 or 5. And that was for the longest time until we started sleep training at 5 months.
Yep. And as because this was when you were doing your like 2 wake ups, and I was doing like 50 and 50.
I don't think so.
I was feeding him every 2 hours. I do know that. And oh my gosh, I remember trying not to fall asleep prior to sleep training. Because we cut them cold turkey on food.
Yeah, we did. But I transferred her to the crib at 6 or 8 weeks.
Yeah, no, he definitely was 3. I have a picture when I did it, but he definitely had to be 3.5 months.
And I mean, it was my choice, but it wasn't my doing. I went on a bachelorette trip for one of my friends, and my mom stayed with Logan, not in the same bed. My mom stayed in my room. Logan slept in the living room. But she even told me, she was like, the first night she did try to do the bassinet, and she was like, she just wasn't comfy.
Yeah.
She could tell. And I was like, I can tell too, but I don't know. People are telling me I need to keep her in this
6
bassinet.
months.
Yeah.
You're told to keep them sleeping with you for the first 6 months. So I had, like, when you did it, it kind of gave me, like, I don't want to say courage, but, like, it really did. It gave me or I guess the motivation to be like, you know what?
He can do it.
Or the comfort of knowing, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
I feel like, again, I had such an issue of, if it said this, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I regret not listening to my baby all the time.
Yeah.
Because I think I could have definitely put him in there sooner.
I mean, but again, we didn't know.
No, yeah, we knew nothing.
But again, my mom put, not me, but when she had my brother, I remember him being in his crib. Because she even told me, she was like, any movement he made, I think he was a good sleeper, but she said any movement he made, I was awake.
Yep.
And I felt that.
That's how I felt.
I can't, they are such active, what's it called?
Active sleeping was a real
crazy.
thing.
Yeah.
The grunting and the, like, weird moaning noises. You're sleeping, but yet you're waking me up.
Yeah. And by the time I'm able to fall asleep, that's when you're waking
It's time,
up.
yeah. Now it's time to eat and wake up and be ready for the day.
Yes. Yeah. No, absolutely not. So 6 to 8 weeks, she
Transfer
was in
to the crib when you feel it's best for your baby
Yes.
and you.
Yeah. But still rocking to sleep. And then 5 months hit.
Yeah, we rocked them to sleep up until sleep training.
Yeah.
So 5 months of rocking to sleep. And like, I think what made me kind of feel exhausted of him too was the fact that not only are we rocking you to sleep every night, but guess what? Contact naps.
Mhm.
We were contact napping this whole time. When do you think we started trying to do a crib nap?
And honestly, I think you were better at it because I remember you were putting him down more than I was her. Because remember, you would put him down in his bassinet for the first 2 naps at least.
Yes.
He'd only give you 30 minutes, but
Right.
like you were at least
And
setting him
I think
down.
I wasn't like, we definitely had two different mindsets. You were like, but she sleeps longer on me. And I was very like, but he needs to learn.
Yeah.
And I also think he's a low sleep needs baby because yes, he was fussy and he was obviously tired, but he wasn't so unbearable to where she definitely needs her sleep.
Yeah.
And when she didn't get her sleep, she was
You
done.
knew it.
Yeah. So I understood. I think had he been very, very fussy, I would have then changed the routine. But because I was like, you're getting 30 minutes, he would do a 30-minute crib nap, 1 contact nap, 30-minute crib nap.
Yes.
Crib nap is how we did it for the longest time.
Yes.
He always did a first crib nap, but I had to rock him for that nap. So I'm rocking you for your nap, then I'm contact napping you, then I'm rocking you for your third nap, then I'm rocking you to sleep.
Yeah.
Then I'm rocking you in the middle of the night. I mean, there was just so like, much contact. Yes. I was like, I need a break. I need a break.
I remember I would like look forward to the first contact nap because I was like, ooh, I'm about to go to sleep. Then the second contact nap, I'd like do stuff on my phone. I don't remember when I started to try to lay her down. Honestly, it was because we sleep trained, but we were still contact napping.
Still contact napping.
Isn't that
crazy? They had to learn because again, we use the Taking Care of Babies guide. This one you do have to pay for. We used that guide, and it basically was like, listen, scrap naps. Don't worry about them. If you got to contact, you got to contact. We're worried about sleep at night because basically when they learn sleeping at night is then when they can apply it to their naps.
Yes. That it was basically saying like nighttime sleep, and I've heard this too from friends. Nighttime sleep comes first, then daytime sleep.
Yeah, because during this nighttime sleep, they are learning to self-soothe.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it's overload on them. If you try to do naps first, it's overload. If you try to do it all at one time, like let's just focus on the nighttime.
Yeah. And I was lucky enough. We were both lucky enough that they stay home. Like we didn't have to worry about daycare. We didn't have to worry about any of that.
That would have been really hard.
I
can't think about them putting my baby down and my baby screaming.
Yeah. And they have to. Like if they fall asleep on you, they have to lay them down. Like rules.
Yeah.
It gives me anxiety for all you daycare mamas.
I'm telling you, I was texting Haley earlier that I was just crying because I'm just so grateful for our babies. And this is another thing that I'm like, I could cry about, that I'm so grateful to have at-home childcare. Not only that, but of someone I trust.
Yes.
Like, it's my actual mother.
Yeah.
I can't trust anybody more.
Yeah, literal.
Freaking Mike popped up on me there.
Literal, yeah.
Yeah, we couldn't have people we trust more to be able to watch our babies. So I feel like, the best thing to get into, and judge us if you want to, that is okay. I don't judge you for not sleep training. Please don't judge me for sleep training. It is definitely a hard topic. There's a lot of disagreements on it. That's totally fine. We're cool to agree to disagree. But we sleep trained our babies.
Yeah.
Yay. And honestly, have your thoughts. But it's hard. It's
the best.
It's a roller coaster.
It is the best decision I feel like we have made. I don't know. Let's just say that. I don't know what she'd be like if I didn't. But I just feel like she is the best version of herself because she sleeps. Yeah.
No, I agree.
And like, I couldn't imagine. I know we were doing it for the longest time. We were getting up. I know we were. I just could not imagine still doing that.
Waking up middle of the night.
And having longer wake windows, because when they were younger.
That's a great point.
You know?
I cannot imagine a 3-hour wake window, plus you're going to be up at 2 a.m., which, okay, I guess I can imagine it because I do have a little bit of a feisty sleeper there, but no, it's not. It could be worse. It 100% would be worse had we not sleep trained.
Yes.
What did we do, you ask? So, again, we did the taking care of babies. Haley did it first. We did it like 1 day difference because I was the person who was on the fence about it. I felt like you were very like, no, I'm doing this.
I'm doing it.
I'm sleep training. And I was very like, I just can't. Like, the thought of crying it out, I can't do it. And she just continued to like send me more stuff of like, no, we're not doing cry it out. We're doing, it feels almost like a little version of Ferber. Or did we do Ferber?
I feel like it is Ferber, but it's very modifiable, and I feel like that's what taking care of babies always tells you. Like, hey, this is what I'm saying, but if you don't want to do the 5-minute, like fussy, and then go in, do 3 minutes. If that's what makes you feel better. Like you are responding to your baby how you feel.
Yes.
Because again, I know my baby, you know your baby. I'll say this, like, I feel like Waylon's cry is like way more severe than Lakin's cry. But that's his cry. You know, like I can't. She knows, you know it.
Yeah.
I don't.
And I think that was hard too, is I saw Lakin cry the first night, but and then was it her first night? Did she have that hour and a half, 2 hours, I think?
It was 54 minutes. I do still have the chart saved.
I have the chart saved too. The first night for me, so Lakin did decently well the first night.
Yeah.
So it gave me this kind of like hope.
Yeah, I fed her, I patted her, she burped.
Well, first, wait.
I laid her down.
Let's explain what it is. So basically, we're no longer rocking to sleep.
Not
we're not
feeding
in the dark. We're not. Yeah.
We're basically laying them down awake but drowsy, they say, and letting them put themselves to sleep.
Basically how you do, when you go and you lay in your bed and you're like, hey, I'm tired, so I'm going to go lay down. I'm going to lay here for a little bit and then I'm going to go to sleep.
But it's okay because I'm going to sleep.
Yes.
Like, I'm tired.
Right.
It's fine.
Which we we can comprehend that. Yeah. We are teaching them to now comprehend that.
Because it is a skill. And we can't, it's something we can't do for our kids, but we can help them reach it. And again, I did it first, so she was 5 months on the dot. So taking care of babies says like 5 months is when their like brain development is kind of like at the best.
Right.
Not at the best, but like they are able to do it.
Like there's a difference. When I think it's up to 0 to 4 months where they can't self-soothe. Yeah. It's normal. You need to go and you need to do X, Y, Z to soothe them. But once they get to that certain age, they can now do it. So,
and again, our babies weren't. I was a couple days. I delivered a couple days before my due date. You were 2 days after your due date. So we didn't have premature babies. We didn't have overdue babies. Like we knew their capabilities,
right? And
we decided. But Waylon was like 5 months in a week.
Yeah.
But I started right out at 5 months. I fed awake. I laid her down, and then I left the room. I told her goodnight, obviously, and then I left her.
Yeah, they say like get a saying. Yeah. Ours is okay, good night. I love you. See you in the morning.
Yeah.
Every night. I still do it every night. Just to let them know.
Oh, I feel like mine's different every night.
No, every night. Good night. I love you. I'll see you in the morning.
And like sometimes I pat her belly or sometimes I rub her forehead.
I always give him a kiss. Yeah, on his forehead.
But, and then it took her 8 minutes, I think, 8 or 10 minutes. And she went to sleep. No crying.
Amazing.
No fussing. No nothing. So I was like, oh,
I wish y'all knew the hope this gave me and the disaster that was the next day.
No. And so I remember me and Logan, I was like, we were sitting on the couch. I said, Logan, I think she's asleep.
The anxiety watching your camera.
Yeah. And she was asleep. We went, and what's funny, we had the Nana and we had her.
The crib camera.
Her crib camera right next to her, so I could like have a screen. But then I'd say, and it made sense right around the 1 or 2 a.m. mark when she would wake up for a bottle.
Mm-hmm.
She woke up.
We cold turkey.
We cold turkey, cut nighttime feedings.
You can wean it out.
You can wean it out. Preface. There is
we made sure they were getting enough calories
yeah.
during the day. Let's preface that, yeah.
We were making sure they were gaining weight. We were making sure they had, like, good calories.
I think they were already on 6 ounces, weren't they?
Yeah, 6 ounces, so times a day.
Yes, they were getting plenty of calories.
Ounces.
Yes, their calories were good.
They do not need to eat throughout the night. Evidence-based practice.
And they were gaining so well.
Yes, yeah. They were on track.
Such a good weight.
They were never below in the low
They have
percentile.
always gained.
So she woke up, I did, and then I reversed because they say like every 5 minutes go in, check on her, reiterate to her that it's fine. But again, she says if you feel like your check-ins are making it worse, pull back if you need to. I think I checked on her for like the first 10 or 15 minutes, but I didn't feel like it was getting better. I felt like it was just getting worse.
Yeah, like she now knows you're there, and so she wants
it started, and it would like cry. It would slow down. I'd go in, and then it'd be cry, and then it'd slow down.
Yeah, like again, she was finishing, but because you hit that 5 minute 10 mark, then yeah, you were going in.
Yeah, so again, you know your baby. I knew my baby. It wasn't a cry. It was a whine.
Yeah.
It was a whine. It took her about 54 minutes. I wouldn't say the whole 54 minutes was crying, but 54 minutes from when she woke up to when she went back to sleep. And then, honestly, I'd have to look back, but I think she woke up at like 6 or 6:15. And she says like to leave them in the bed until they reach the 11-hour mark in their crib. And that was the 11-hour mark.
Right.
So it worked out. And I was like, hallelujah.
Success.
Night 1.
Yeah. You gave me your night 1 story. And the same night she's doing this is the same night that I was like, I simply cannot rock him to sleep anymore because I'm actually about to lose it.
Is that what? Are you sure, or was it the night that you decided to do it?
No.
No.
Monday night is when I lost it with him. Tuesday is when I sleep trained.
But I thought you were losing it on Tuesday night too.
No, I lost it on Monday, and I was like, I'm gonna do it tomorrow night.
Okay.
And so, it makes me so sad.
Yeah.
Because he screamed bloody murder. So I put him down, and again, I think what helps too is like you have a partner there, and I don't have mine here because he's working. So I do the same thing, we feed, awake, drowsy, lay him down, I tell him all his stuff, and I leave the room, and I don't even think I made it out the door, and he was immediately crying.
Yeah.
And so, my little mom's heart, Haley FaceTimed me within like the first 5 minutes of it even happening, and I'm just bawling on the phone because he already has a loud cry, but then like when he's pissed, he's pissed.
Yeah.
It is a screeching cry. So he's doing it, and I kid you not, it had to be like an hour. I think he cried. I wish I had it up, but I think he cried for like an hour, and I feel god awful. So I was doing check-ins, and I think what she had on there was like 5, then 10, then 15, but I was doing every 5 until he finally like had somewhat of a lower cry.
Yeah.
Until he finally was kind of like, okay.
Yes.
I think I did like 9 or 10 check-ins.
Yeah. Well, and I remember
just within that first gap.
She texted me because you laid down at like 7. I got off work at 7.
Yeah.
So I was at work at this point. So she was like, just laid him down. Then like 5 minutes later, just bloody scream crying. And then she's like, I don't think I can do this, blah, blah, blah. So I immediately like FaceTimed her as I was walking out. I was like, it's okay. Yeah, all I hear is Waylon on the like monitor screaming. But I was like, we're doing, and then I just reiterated everything that she says on taking care of babies. She's like so pro sleeping. Like we are doing this for them. We're not doing this to them. We are doing this for them.
Yeah.
We are doing this with them. It's not like I'm shutting myself.
Yeah, like
in the
I'm
room
just
and
not going back anymore.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we are with them on this journey together. We're both going through this, and that's just really what made me feel better about everything.
Yeah,
was
and
like,
you being able to reassure me made me feel better, and we made it through, and it was an hour and a half maybe. He finally falls asleep. And we both had that same feeling of like, what if they hate us the next morning?
Mhm.
But they didn't. They loved us so much. So I called Jarrett, and talk about it. He comes home. We're both asleep, and then at 1:45 actually, if we're gonna get real specific, 1:45 it begins. It begins, and it doesn't
I told
stop.
her, I was like, hey,
He's gonna wake up.
yeah, he's gonna
It's
wake
inevitable.
up, and
Like, it's gonna happen.
be because this is your first night. So right, we're used to going in, we're used to feeding them. So not only are you like, shoot, they're crying, whatever, but now we are cold turkey cutting feedings. Again, we knew they're gaining weight, they're eating enough during the day, but then you always have that in the back of your mind.
Yeah, of like,
maybe
what if he pooped himself?
Maybe
or
they're
what
hungry.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Maybe they're hot. Maybe they peed through their diaper. Like, there was so many thoughts running through my head. And he cried for 2 hours, to where I'm bawling in the living room. Jarrett's like, one, I can't listen to my son scream like this. Like, he felt awful. Two, he just got off work. Like, he's only been asleep an hour. And then three, his wife's crying. So he doesn't want me to cry. So he wants to solve this problem.
Yeah.
And he was like 2 seconds from walking into Waylon's room, because I was doing check-ins, and then I had to cold turkey the check-ins because they were just making it worse.
Yeah.
Like, he was just crying every time I went in there.
Yeah.
I even tried later on in sleep training, I tried sitting in Jarrett for one of them, made it worse too. So check-ins were really hard for him. I think he just loves his parents.
Yes.
But I mean, I promise you, Jarrett's hand was on the doorknob, and I was begging him, crying, begging, like, please do not go in there. He got mad at me. Lots of words were said, whatever. We're both sleep deprived. He comes back in the room, and by the time he had made it from Waylon's room to our bed, Waylon was asleep.
Yep.
And I was like, thank God. Thank God. And I remember going to work that next day, just like eyes swollen, exhausted. They were like, what happened to you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
So very different, like, first
very
night.
I was so like, forget Haley, I'm not talking to her.
But
how long would you say it took her,
I'd say
honestly?
like 7 days.
Yeah.
7 days.
So they were gonna say it?
You go.
Okay. So in her guide, it says to be very, very strict first 14 days. Strict on how you lay them down, your check-ins, passy. Like, we were not reinserting passy at all during check-ins. Yeah, we did not put passy back in.
That.
We were very strict. And I remember being nervous because we were actually going to a birthday party.
Yes.
Towards
I was just about
Austin.
to say that.
And I was sick about it. But he really only cried for like 30 minutes there, and he put himself to sleep. And that gave me so much hope, because I was like, not only did you put yourself to sleep, but we're not home. Like, we're in a new environment, and he slept all night. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And that was like day 7 or 8, maybe.
Yeah. I'd say like 7 or 8 days we like got pretty confident in them, like putting them down.
Yeah.
Night wakings, she would still every now and then, but it would be maybe like 15 minutes at a time, and she really wouldn't even cry. She would just wake me up because she was like such a mover. But I forgot that we weren't replacing
We were not
passies,
reinserting passies.
because I remember every now and then when they would wake up and cry,
when we
would
got
text
past the
each
14 days, we were like,
I just want to go stick a passy in, because I know she'd go right to sleep. Yes. Or in the early mornings, like if they woke up at 5:45, I was like,
yeah. Because they say don't get them out until you want them to have that wake time. So, like, even now to this day, sometimes, most of the time, he wakes up 6:15, but I won't get him out of the crib till 6:30.
Yeah.
And because anything after 6 is normal. I'm sorry, guys.
Sorry.
If my baby is a 6 a.m. waker. He just wants to be up at 6 a.m. He's an early riser like me. That's, of course, what I pass down.
Yep.
So 6:30 is usually when he starts his day now. But where was I going with that? I was going to say something.
Anything
I don't
after
remember.
6 is normal.
Unfortunately.
11-hour in the crib.
Also, because yes, we're sleep training, but his naps are still crap. So he's going down at like 6:15.
Yes.
At night, like 6:15 p.m. That's what I was going to say. So did really good. And then for some reason, it's like we hit a bump in the road on day 10 and he had like a lose his mind moment again.
Yeah.
But I felt like I just made you do all this and then now it didn't even work.
Yeah. No. Well, and you again that she tells you in her guide, like, respond to your baby if you feel appropriate. So you just had 10 days worth of like, oh, not perfect, but like, oh, you can do this, blah blah blah.
Right.
Then on the 10th day he's scream crying like, duh, I'm gonna think something's wrong.
Yeah. And I remember when we were past the we had already been past the 2 weeks and he was it was a pain cry. Like there was something wrong. And I just felt like such a bad mom because I was so focused on this, like, but these are the rules. This is what it says. And I was texting Haley and she was like, listen, it's your baby. If you don't want to follow these rules, you don't freaking have to. And I didn't even respond to the text. I read her text and I immediately went in there and I grabbed him and I rocked him to sleep.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's hurting. Something's hurting. I don't know what it is. Turns out 2 teeth were coming in, but you're hurting. Rocked him to sleep, put him back down. Next night, we were fine. We went back to our old ways. Everything was great.
And if you're on the fence about it or if you're about to start it or whatever, like, end of the day, we have a guide. Do with it as you please.
Yeah.
If you want to do every 3 minutes, if you want to do every 10, if you need to rock them to sleep because you miss your baby, like, do it.
Yeah.
Because end of the day, 1 or 2 nights is
not
going to derail
right.
them.
And that's how we felt about the passies. Because now they find them themselves. So like it is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
So yes, we did a little bit of no passies because then we were kind of like, oh, maybe we're gonna like get past this passy thing.
Nope.
Shit.
Nope.
No, we actually put like 5 passies and we let them find it.
If she doesn't have 3 passies going into the crib, I'm stressed out about the next one.
Yes, because I know that he's not gonna be. Which she's a find your passy, go to sleep. He's a find my passy, and he just like hums at me while he's chewing on it. I'm like, okay, let's just get up. But overall, I just feel like sleep training genuinely saved me. Like, yes, it hurt during the time it was being done, but when I tell you the sleep you get, which we got really good sleep for a while, and then Waylon hit every regression you can possibly think of. We actually just finished one a week ago.
Yeah.
And then of course he's also has 6 teeth. So like every time he's teethed, I know. Every time he has teeth has been an issue. And then he got sick.
Yeah.
And then and it just so things pop up, things happen. It's hard. He didn't nap well that day. Like it all plays. But again, he still puts himself to sleep. He puts himself down for naps. So, like, can I really complain?
Yeah.
No.
At least, yeah. And you know, like you said, even if the naps were shit and even if he only slept 30 minutes, he's still able to do it himself. Same thing at night. Like, even if he was waking up at 10 or 11 because of the regression or sleep, like,
he still, like, I still got those 3 hours before he woke up. And then...
And he did as well.
Yeah, and like, so we Jarrett and I recently, because he hit that like 9-month regression about like 9.5 months, me and Jarrett literally were taking turns falling asleep on his freaking ground from patting his butt. My gosh. And that's one thing too, I feel like I was reading of like not teaching new habits during these regressions, but also I have to sleep.
You have to sleep.
So we were like, whatever, we're going to pat his butt. We actually did have a conversation right before he went on this work trip of like, we'd probably need to get back into our sleep training mentality because this was happening so often. But it's like,
now
it's like he heard it. I think Waylon heard his dad say that and he was like, nope, I'm sorry. I'll go to sleep. It's fine. So now he's been giving us like 7:15 to like 6:15. So
yeah. No, thankfully, the only hiccup I've ever had was that one time she was sick, and
sicky girl.
Probably because she couldn't freaking breathe out of her nose, honestly. But I remember I was up every hour probably with her, and then finally at 3 or 4, I just went and I laid in her recliner with her until she woke up for the day. But then after that, it was fine. And then I'd say, like, nap-wise, I don't really remember the timeline of when we started, but
What do you mean, laying them down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, laying him down, no more contact naps.
Yeah, I don't remember either, but I remember they were only giving us 30 minutes
30
still.
minutes, 30.
And then I remember they would go like 35. We're like, oh my God, 35.
How long are we going to make it? But I will say, I honestly don't think they ever did longer naps until we did longer wake windows.
Oh,
and
yeah.
really when we dropped to 2 naps.
Yeah, I would say he did his first like long nap when I flipped him on his stomach because you kept telling me. It was right after Christmas, like December 30th or something, because Patty was still in town. And I was like, oh my God, Patty, he's been asleep for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
Yeah. No, her first long nap was when she had a longer wake window, so I fed her. I went ahead and I fed her a bottle right before her second nap. And she gave me like an hour and 45 minutes. Yeah. And I was like,
this seems like yesterday, but like it's end of March. And we're talking about December.
That was like December, January. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Now we just have like grown babies. They're going to be a year.
Like they're pretty predictable most days.
Yeah, like I can tell you I'm probably going to have a 6:30 wake up tomorrow. We're going to go do our first nap at 9:30. Our second nap will be at 2 to 2:30 depending on how long he sleeps.
Yep.
But I love it. I mean, I love this stage. I think that sleep training has helped me love it. Because, again, when I did wake up in the middle of the night that past week, Jarrett and I were miserable. We were miserable to each other. We were miserable when we were, like, you're trying not to be in a bad mood because you're with your baby. But I had no energy. So, like, in the mornings, I would set him in his little playpen, like this big playpen thing we have full of his toys, and I would just lay in there with him
and watch him.
And I would he was attacking me. Yeah. I was getting bit, licked, spit. I did not care. I was just laying there. Yeah. Do what you need because mom's tired.
Yeah. And honestly, two of my friends at work recommended it, like, or not recommended, but they were just like, this is what
I did.
Yeah.
Which is giving.
And they both had great experiences
results,
with it. Yeah. And I was tired. And I was like, yep, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, you just hit a point of like, can I be any more tired?
And I feel like Logan never had that moment of like, oh no, I don't want to do this because number one, she didn't cry going down most of the time. Number two, he doesn't fucking wake up to her crying. So when I was awake with her for that hour in the middle of the night, he didn't know what the hell was going on. He woke up, he said, did she get up, Benny? And I was like, yeah.
And yeah, mine was definitely opposite. I think he is just as grateful, even though he absolutely hated the process of it. He gets more sleep.
Yep.
Because unfortunately, I do have to wake him up at like 7 a.m. So he's getting home at 1. At least he gets 6 hours of uninterrupted sleep because it was not. So
yeah. But that's our experience on sleep and sleep training. We'll see what episode 10 is.
Yeah, I think we had thought this would go longer.
Yeah.
But
it might just be a longer episode, but that's fine.
Yeah, like what was the point in cutting it? Yeah. I think we just didn't feel like doing that.
Yeah. End of the day, we know like sleep training is a big like,
controversial topic,
but we love our babies. Our babies are fed and healthy and gaining weight and
this
growing.
Is my, can I rant? All the time on my TikTok, I see stuff of like, I just couldn't imagine being that mom that lets their baby cry. I just couldn't imagine trying this sleep training. Okay, that's so cool. I'm not making videos saying I cannot believe that you're letting your baby be exhausted during the day because they are. Waylon was exhausted. He was so pissy because he was exhausted.
Never happy.
Didn't want to mess with anybody because she's exhausted.
Never
you know?
Happy.
No, always. And then we thought we were doing something wrong, and then they get their first full 11, 12 hours sleep. They woke up like brand new babies. So again, I am totally okay with agreeing to disagree, but I absolutely hate seeing videos that make my mom guilt 10 times worse because guess what? I already have it. I already feel guilty about anything and everything I do. So please don't make it worse.
Don't
let's just be kind.
Don't like these are our decisions for our kids.
Right.
Like we're not going through everybody else's decisions and talking down or like making side comments.
Exactly. And I feel like
if that's what works for your baby, great.
And I feel like we're both like that. Like because we have I know we know people that don't agree with the sleep training, and I just think neither one of us have ever been like, oh,
I could
you
never.
don't sleep train.
No, yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, I love that works for you.
I love that you're getting sleep because I am too.
Yeah, we're both getting sleep now.
Yeah.
And if you're not getting sleep, I know how to help.
I know how to help if you want to listen
but
to
if
me.
you want it, you have to want it. Like, I even feel like if I had told you, like, no, I just don't think that this is for me, I think you literally would have been like, that's cool. Okay.
Next time you complain to me, though, I'm going to say, well,
we're too close, so maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't work out. No, but one of my good friends from nursing school, she has an 18-month-old. They've always co-slept. She's breastfed, but that's what works for them.
Exactly. And so what works for you, do.
They get good sleep. She wakes up fine. She, like, doesn't wake up to her alarm or whatever. And I'm like, hey, end of the day, you're sleeping. I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
And now, like, looking back, I would have been like, God, I don't want, like, get in my bed. But now, I would love if she slept in my bed. I don't think she'd fall asleep in our bed, though.
And I do think about that, too, because the thought of co-sleeping with him just sounds so lovely. Like, cuddling up with him just sounds amazing. But then I'm also so happy about the skills and independency he has in his bed. Because that baby loves his bed.
And I think about me.
I love my bed.
I always refer back to me. I love my bed. I love my room. I love, like, knowing at the end of a long day I can just come and lay down in my bed and go to sleep. And I want her room, her bed to be, like, that her comfort, safe spot, too.
And I would say, like, we do lay them down now, and what is crying? We lay them down and they're like, peace out.
If
See
they're
you
crying
in the morning.
now,
something's wrong.
Yes.
100% if they're crying, something is wrong.
Yes.
The other night, he had a massive fit and he had a really bad nap. So I think he just was so overtired. But I was not going to lay him down at 6:30 because we've been doing so well at the 7:15. So it took us about an hour to get him down. And we had to do a lot of padding. We ended up picking him up. He fell asleep on me. But, like, something was wrong.
End of the day, yeah. Something was going on. His hand might have been asleep or whatever.
I absolutely hate Texas because the way that my nose has been just itching and running this whole episode is actually ridiculous. Like, it's annoying. I hate Texas sometimes.
It's fine. Yours are acting up now. Ours was doing it when it first started getting warm.
Frustrating.
But comment, DM us if you have questions about sleep training, taking care of babies, at Taking Care of Babies.
At Taking Care of Babies.
We love you. Please
literally, you saved our lives.
Honestly.
Because, listen, the sleep wasn't sleeping.
Yeah, go to her blog. We literally look up, like, different wake windows for each month of their life.
Yeah, it's there. Like, I still refer back to it because we're kind of working through this issue of, like, when to drop to 4 bottles, and she has it spaced out. She has, like, sample schedules, so I would always just change the time. So, like, if it's a set schedule for 7, I just upped it to 6 because I knew he'd wake up at 6.
Yep.
But I just think it's so helpful. It has saved us personally in our household.
Mentally. Just gives me something to go based off of. Again, not following
and
it.
Honestly, it kind of makes me proud whenever I'm like, oh yeah, like, he puts himself to sleep. It just gives me proud mom, like,
we
our
just
babies are so big. Yeah. How are night times? Oh, I just lay him in the crib.
Even when my mom brags about me to other people, I'm like, that's crazy.
It makes me just feel like I'm doing something right, you know? It definitely gives me, because I feel like, again, as a new mom, there's so many things that just make me feel so guilty, and this is one thing that makes me feel so proud. So.
And we helped our babies get there.
Right.
Yeah.
God, we're awesome.
We are. I think we're pretty good moms.
I like us.
But comment, DM us if you have any questions. All we talk about is sleep. So.
Literally.
We got the answer for you. We love to troubleshoot, too.
Guess what I'm doing after this? Going to sleep.
I gotta drive.
Absolutely not.
But like, share, follow, subscribe. We are kind of...
next episode is, like, last episode of season 1.
I know.
I'm so proud of us.
Episodes. So.
Not yet, but yes.
Yeah.
I'm
Almost.
so proud of us. We'll figure out what it is.
Yep.
But thanks for sticking around, and I hope you enjoyed this one, the next one, and all the ones to come.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.